Welcome back to Brawlmaster Unscripted. This is the segment where I answer an assortment of questions, be they thoughtful or stupid. It's been a while since you've heard my voice, hasn't it? Let's start off with a question from The Titan. How do you get subs? I know it seems desperate, but I would like some tips. Thanks. Oh, you're choosing to ask me, huh? Well, it's kind of hard to say because, as you can probably tell, I'm not the most popular channel on YouTube. I mean, I have a pretty decent following, I guess, but I'm definitely, just not even a drop in the bucket compared to a lot of channels. But if you really want my advice, I don't really do this for subs. I mean, I just kind of do my own thing, you know? I make videos about what I want to make, I talk about what I want to talk about, what's interesting to me, and I just try to have fun with it, because I believe when you're making videos on here, what's the point if you're not having fun doing it? And it's like, yeah, I just do what I want to do, and because of that, I don't have the biggest following in the world, but I don't really need to. I don't do it for subs. I mean, I always appreciate whenever I get new subscribers, that's great, but, you know, I try not to make that a priority. I just try to make sure that I'm having fun and putting a lot of effort into what I do, because that's just what I personally feel is most important. If you wanted to get a lot of subscribers, really quickly, then I think you could do something that a lot of people already do, because it's been proven to be popular. You could do Let's Plays, or you can do commentaries, or be a game reviewer, or do a coverage channel where you cover news and everything. That stuff gets a lot of attention because people want to see that. So, I mean, there are things you can do to get other subscribers, to get a lot of subscribers really quickly, but I don't really see the point in doing that if you're not having fun doing it. I mean, if you are, full speed ahead, by all means, do what you want to do, but it's like, yeah, it'd be great to be a Let's Player and to get 1 million subscribers or whatever, but what's the point of doing it if you don't have fun doing it? So that's just how I feel, you know? Make videos that are fun to you to make, that, you know, that you'll put a lot of effort into, that you'll put a lot of creativity and humor into, you'll have a lot of fun with it, and slowly over time you will get people who will discover your channel, and they'll find that they like your stuff and they'll want to keep up with you. And that's what it's all about for me, you know? I would rather have a smaller viewer base that is more vocal and is more engaged than to have 1 million subscribers and have none of them actually comment or really seem to give a crap about what I do. So, yeah, just take whatever you want from this, you know? I'd say either, you know, have fun, but be patient, because the subscribers are not going to come overnight. I've been doing this for 4 years now, and I still don't have that many subscribers. On my old channel, I had a lot bigger following than this, but I got to the point where I wasn't even really doing it for fun. You know, I was just kind of just doing what I thought people wanted to see. And in the end of it, that just kind of blew up in my face. So now I pretty much just do whatever I want to do. I make videos about whatever I want to see, and if people like that, then they're more than welcome to watch more of my stuff. And if they don't, nobody's holding a gun to their head. They don't have to watch my stuff. They can go find something that they do want to watch. Hopefully they don't waste their time sticking around trying to tell me how much of an awful person I am because I don't share the same opinion as them. I think that's a really sad existence to live, but that's getting off topic. But if you really wanted to get subscribers really quickly and you don't mind putting work into it over fun, then yeah, become a Let's Player or something, or just do commentaries, upload your reactions to stuff. People like that stuff. It's really not hard to see what's popular on here. It's kind of obvious actually if you just look at views, but yeah, you know, you might want to ask other people, because I'm obviously not about subscribers. I'm not about views, about attention, so you might not take anything from my advice, and hopefully you will, but I don't know. So yeah, I honestly hope that whatever you ultimately decide to do, that you just have fun doing it, because what's the point of, I've said this a million times and I'll keep saying it, what's the point of doing it if you don't have fun? I mean, that's why I'm still doing it, and I hope that when I eventually do retire from YouTube, because it will happen eventually, I retired not because I got sick of doing this, but just because I felt like I had a good run and it was time to move on. So that's what I'm working towards. But for now, I'm just trying to stay here, do my own thing, and have fun doing what I'm doing. Just trying to be passionate about what I do, and to, make people laugh, make them smile, and, just make them feel comfortable just watching my videos and make them feel like they're welcome to share their own opinions and everything. So that's just what I focus on. And I hope you do something that is really passionate to you and that will get you subscribers the way you want them, to show up and everything. So, okay, 2 minutes is probably long enough for one question, so let's move on to the next ones. Next, we have 3 questions from Cayman Rider 64. Number 1, would you like to see a Fire Emblem character appear in Soul Calibur? And if so, who would you want to see? That's a pretty cool idea. I guess it'd be kind of like a throwback to when Link was in Soul Calibur in the GameCube version. That was kind of cool. I could see them doing something like that again, as long as this hypothetical Soul Calibur came to a Nintendo console, because to my knowledge it hasn't been on a Nintendo console in a long time, so it would have to be on a Nintendo console again, first of all. And if that weren't a problem, then I think it'd be cool if they had like Marth or something. I mean, thanks to Smash Brothers, Marth is kind of the face of Fire Emblem, I guess, so I think Marth would just make the most sense. But I don't know, maybe they could go with someone more modern like Chrom or something. I don't know. I don't play Fire Emblem, so I really don't know that much about it. So I can only offer basically what's represented in Smash. That's kind of sad, but it's the honest truth. Okay, second question. Do you think Hyrule Warriors should have been a Fire Emblem game instead of a Zelda game? I don't really see any problem with Hyrule Warriors being a Zelda game. I mean, I always felt like, well, not always. I mean, just looking at it, it looked like Zelda had a lot of, references and, I don't know, I can't think of a word besides fan service. Not fan service, but, like just, they could pull all these elements from Zelda and incorporate it into Hyrule Warriors in a way that was, that was really cool. That was kind of representative of what Zelda is. So I don't really like how this question is worded, and that making it seem like Hyrule Warriors shouldn't exist, because I feel like Hyrule Warriors is fine as it is. I mean, from what I can tell, it looked like the Zelda fans enjoyed it, so it is what it is. But I don't think that should mean that a Fire Emblem kind of Hyrule Warriors should never exist. I mean, I think it could be, the next Dynasty Warriors thing. I think if the developers wanted to work on a Fire Emblem one, that would be a pretty cool idea. I don't know how the, turn-based RPG style of Fire Emblem would mix with the hack and slash of Dynasty Warriors, but if the developers think they could make it work, I think it could be something cool. I think they showed that with Hyrule Warriors that they were capable of integrating source material from a franchise with completely different gameplay into a Dynasty Warriors game and making it work. So, you might be onto something. That might be a pretty interesting, spiritual successor to Hyrule Warriors, or like, just really, I like the idea of Nintendo crossing over with other companies, getting their franchises more out there. I like the idea of that. Okay, and question number 3. Are you aware of the Pokemon episodes that got banned? I certainly am, and I've seen pretty much all of them. Yes, including Electric Soldier Porygon. I have seen it. Someone actually uploaded it to YouTube, and I have watched it. And no, I did not get a seizure, but then again, I'm not epileptic like that or anything, so all I can say about these banned episodes is that I can certainly see why they're banned. I mean, not even just Electric Soldier Porygon with the flashes, but my god, like Beauty and the Beast with the freaking fan service, and then there was that one with the Dratini and Team Rocket had guns, and it's like, well, obviously you're not going to show that stuff because it's supposed to be a kid's show. Why would they show that stuff? But it's like, at the same time, I kind of like those episodes because looking back, I never realized how, for lack of a better term, please excuse my pun, how ballsy Pokemon was back then. How Pokemon had so much more balls back then to try and get away with stuff. I mean, with the Pokemon Company running the show now, there was no way in hell would any of that stuff fly in like the current seasons. There's no way they could pull another Electric Soldier Porygon or another Beauty and the Beach in the X and Y season. That would never happen today. But it's so funny to see how Pokemon was supposed to be this really cheesy, really generic, kid-friendly show, and yet it actually had these episodes where it was incorporating all this ridiculous adult stuff. So, I don't know, Japan is weird, but I enjoyed them. Actually, I actually did enjoy them just because it's so drastically different from the stuff that doesn't get censored or banned. So if you haven't seen them, try to look some of them up. You know, some of them, the banned episodes are on YouTube. They're not going to be in the best quality. They might not have, like, obviously they're not going to have an English dub because the English dubs were never really released over here. So, but if you can try to track them down somewhere, I think they are worth watching just because they're so funny. Okay, next question comes from Arid McCormick McNaughton. Would you consider getting an obscure game that barely anyone knows about today, like Psychonauts? Sure. I mean, I'm open to trying different games. I'm always open to trying new experiences. If I could play it for free somehow, you know, sans emulation, because I'm not really an emulator, I'd be more than willing to try the game. It's just, with games that I don't really know if I want to play or not, I'm a little hesitant to spend a lot of money on, because if I don't like it, then I feel like I wasted money. But if I could get it cheap, or even like try a free demo or something, yeah, I'd be all for it. I mean, why wouldn't I? So I'm not against, like, you know, obscure games and everything. I feel like if a game is good, it should get recognition, even if it is not as much as the fans think it should. I mean, at least it is getting some attention. I mean, there are games I play where I feel like they should get more attention, but they just don't, and that's just the way it is. But yeah, but getting back to your question, I'm definitely not opposed to that. Okay, here are 3 questions from SBox180. Number 1. Do you think video games need to conform to social justice issues like gender, race, and sexual orientation, as has been proposed in the last 3 or so years? Or do you think that bringing those issues into game development compromises freedom of expression? You know, I really hate that word conform. I mean, that just sounds like you're saying that stuff has to be forced into the game just for the sake of being there, and I don't think doing that would do any sort of justice for these subjects. Here's all I really have to say about that. I'm personally not advocating to see that stuff in games. That does not mean that I don't want to see it. It's just that there are other things I want to see in games, and it doesn't include that stuff. I'm not out to silence people for what they want. If people want justice and equality and all that jazz, good for them. They shouldn't feel oppressed by my beliefs, and if they do, I question their sanity after I have just said all this. But I just feel that if the developers wanted to try tackling these issues in their games, they should have the freedom to do so. And if they don't want to incorporate that stuff, they shouldn't feel pressured to do so either, just for the sake of doing it, because I feel that's wrong too. I mean, if you're just shoehorning it in there without putting much effort into it, what's the point? Because you're not really going to get your opinion in there. You're not really going to stand by it. You're not going to try to make a statement. You're not going to put the effort into it. You're just putting it in there just to make a statement. I don't feel like it's worth it to do that. I just feel like if the developers want to do that, they should. Even if they realize they'll come under fire for that, they should still stand by what they believe in if they really believe in that strongly. But if they don't want to, they really should not feel pressured to do so, and people shouldn't be pressuring them to put it in there, because how can there be any sort of justice in the world if you're trying to force your opinions on people, if you're trying to force your beliefs, what you want? That's not justice. It really isn't. You know, that's not equality. I mean, I don't want to stir up this kind of debate, but I don't know. It always just seemed kind of ridiculous to me. So, developers, I just say make whatever you want. If you think you can represent these social justice issues in your game in a way that is respectful and mature, even if it is a little controversial, more power to you. Stand by what you want to do. But if you'd rather just not bring that stuff up in your game and focus on something else, then don't feel like you have to, because you really don't, no matter what people say. People are going to be vocal, and they're going to bitch about whatever they want to bitch, and that's never going to stop. So all you can do is just tune them out and do what you want to do. I mean, if it gets to the point where it's like starting to threaten people and like actually cause physical harm to them, then there's a problem, but it shouldn't get to that point. At least I feel that way. So that's all I really have to say about this. I feel like just mentioning those words, you know, social justice, is going to stir up some kind of debate, because people will be people like that. But that's just my opinion. That's what I believe. I'm trying to remain neutral here. And if people are really feeling oppressed or offended by what I just said, then I question your sanity. I question if you're doing this for a cause you actually believe in, or if you're just doing this to get attention. But yeah, I'm not trying to challenge you or anything, but I guess people are always going to feel offended like that. Oh well. Question number 2. Do you think Crash Bandicoot has a chance of being in Smash Brothers? Wow, talk about a drastic change in subject. But I personally don't think Crash Bandicoot belongs in Smash Brothers, just because he has had zero ties to Nintendo whatsoever. He has had no relationship to Nintendo. He's never done anything for Mario or any of the other franchises. He's never had any crossovers with them or anything like that. He's always been with Sony. And I get it. He's an iconic character from back then. He's a mascot. He's really popular like that. Smash Brothers is like a mascot crossover with all the third parties and everything. But that doesn't mean that we need to get all these mascots from other companies in there when they have no ties to Nintendo. I mean, at least with the third parties that we already have, they've had some kind of connections with Nintendo. Crash Bandicoot has never had that. And I mean, even when Crash went third party, it's not like his games were completely exclusive to Nintendo consoles. It's not like they offered exclusive content or anything like that. I mean, I guess you could say that Sonic was in a similar boat in the beginning. Sure, he had nothing to do with Mario or Nintendo. They were fierce rivals. But the problem is that changed over time. You know, when Sonic went third party and everything, it changed. Like, he started getting games on Nintendo systems, and then he started doing the Olympic Games with Mario and everything, and then they just started to become buddy-buddy, and then suddenly when Sonic got into Smash Brothers, it really wasn't that big of an issue. You know, people actually liked it. And then with Mega Man, you know, he started out on the NES. He had a lot of ties with Nintendo, and then he just went off and did his own thing, but he still had those ties. So I hope you get what I'm saying here, is that Crash Bandicoot has never had anything like that. He's an iconic character, I will not deny that. But I feel like he'd be more fitting in PlayStation All-Stars before Smash Brothers, and he didn't even get into PlayStation All-Stars, and, you know, that was probably more Activision's fault than anything else. But if All-Stars were to get some kind of reboot or spiritual successor or something like that, then I think it would make more sense for Crash Bandicoot to be in that before Smash Brothers. But I mean, aesthetically, he would fit in Smash Brothers. It's just Smash Brothers is all about like celebrating history of gaming and everything like that. It's about like celebrating the past and how far Nintendo has come as a company, and all the things they've accomplished in their time. And they've just never done anything. Crash has never contributed to that in any way, shape, or form, or nothing absolutely substantial in the same way that Sonic and Mega Man and Pac-Man did. You know, I mean, Snake got in, but that was really mainly just because of a favor. I mean, that's just how I view it. So, okay, and question number 3, ice cream. Yummy. Okay, here are 3 questions from Kid Rise. Number 1, if Beyonce, Rihanna, and Nicki Minaj were all willing to have sex with you, but you had to choose one, who would you choose? Beyonce, just because Beyonce. Number 2, what's your opinion on the Halo series? I think it's pretty fun. I had this friend growing up who played Halo all the time because he had an Xbox and he didn't have any Nintendo system, so I was always the Nintendo guy. He was the Xbox guy and he was the Halo guy. He was crazy about Halo, so every time I went over to his house, we always played Halo. And I remember one time when I brought over my GameCube and I brought over Mario Kart Double Dash, he wanted to play it just because it reminded him of like the vehicles in Halo, where one guy was the driver and one guy was like in the turret, and I don't know, we were weird like that. But I don't know if you totally understand what I'm getting at here. But the thing with Halo is that I've never taken it seriously. I've never played Halo very seriously. Like, back then we were younger, so I was a kid, and it's like I had more fun just like running around, aiming up at the sky and spinning around and just making myself dizzy. And it's like on his screen I looked really weird. I looked like some kind of drunk ballerina or something, and it was just really stupid, but it was so funny. We had so much fun. And you know what, that's just one way that I enjoyed Halo. That's the way I enjoy. You know, a lot of people had fun taking it seriously and playing really competitively, but I always just, it brought up good memories. Whenever I look at Halo, it brings up good memories I had with my friend, and I don't really see that friend anymore. He's moved on. He's like in the military now and everything, so I never see him again. But I have to respect Halo for that. You know, I never actually played any of the games seriously, but that it still gave me some good memories, so I won't deny that I had my fun with it. Obviously, it's not like my favorite series of all time, but I won't deny that I did have fun with it. I feel like I owe it some credit for that. Okay, and number 3. What is your favorite Smash Brothers machinima? Oh, that's an easy one. Smash King, by far. Dear God, that series is amazing. It's probably one of the best Smash Brothers machinima that you can find on YouTube. If you have seen Smash King, high five. If not, please go watch it. It's by Tigura21. It has a fantastic story. The writing is so great. The voices are really good. Just the characters are great. You owe it to yourself to watch. If you were only watch Smash Machinima, I think it needs to be Smash King. Smash King is really good. It's ongoing, so it's not done yet. There's still plenty of time for you to catch up before things start to get really intense, but oh my god, it's such a good series. I mean, I don't want to spend too much time like going over what the plot is and everything. In fact, if you want a basic rundown of the plot, my friend WebbyNeon89 is doing a 2-part video segment where he talks about Smash King and discusses it. He gives a pretty decent explanation of the plot, so if you're curious, I'd recommend checking out that video if you want to get an idea of what you're getting into. I'll leave a link to his video in the description, so feel free to drop by if you're interested. Yeah, shameless video plug. But yeah, I think Smash King is a really fantastic machinima, and I think you owe it to yourself to watch it if you haven't. Okay, next we have 2 questions from a regular guy 971. Number 1, have you finally checked out Steven Universe? If so, what do you think of it? Yes, I have finally watched Steven Universe. I have watched every episode so far. I sat down and marathoned it like over a weekend, and I don't want to go into too much detail right now, as I already plan to go into more detail about the show in a future video, but I will say this. When it comes to Steven Universe, I really, really like it. It is a very, very good cartoon. It surprised me so much. It's like next to regular show, it's like one of the few cartoons I have enjoyed in recent years. Like, this show honestly surprised me. I really didn't think much of it when it first came out, but then I actually sat down and watched it, and it is mind-blowing. It's definitely really something special. There's definitely reason behind all the hype, why the show has such a great following. I totally see it now, and I'm so glad I watched the show. I would highly encourage it. I don't want to go into too many details about why I like it, but yeah, for the time being, if you haven't watched it, go watch it. It is really good. It starts out a little bit slow, but my god, when it picks up, it just does not let up at all. It's fantastic. I love it. Okay, question number 2. If you had to take one of your amiibo on a date, which one and where? Mario, because he's my favoriteest one ever, and we'd go to Olive Garden because breadsticks. Next is a question from Burning Blaze 2149. What Nintendo franchises do you think should be on the Wii U? Well, let's see. What are we missing? Metroid, Fire Emblem, and Animal Crossing that isn't boring, Pokemon, F-Zero, Paper Mario, take your pick. In fact, let's bet on how many of them will actually make it to the Wii U before the NX shows up. I'm betting on none of them at this point if E3 this year was anything to go by. Hate to say it, but that's how I feel. Here's a question from Mr. Wii. What are your opinions on the NX? Do you have confidence that the system will succeed, and what would you like to see from the NX? Oh boy. At this point, no, I'm not excited for the NX at all. I feel really burned by the Wii. I feel not really betrayed, but I feel a little bitter towards Nintendo as a business right now after E3 and everything, and after it just feels like they're so ready to give up on the Wii U when it still had potential. It had potential from the beginning, and they just squandered it. And that's essentially why I have no faith in the NX right now, because why should I believe that the NX is going to be any different? Why should I believe that Nintendo has learned from their mistakes from the Wii U, and that the NX is just going to be completely different, that they're going to make it all wonderful and everybody's going to love it? I see no reason to believe that right now. And I have no confidence that the system is going to succeed, because I have no reason to believe that Nintendo has learned from their mistakes. And this is just with Nintendo in general. It always seems like they take 2 steps forward and 1 step back. I hate to repeat myself from the E3 video, but it's just how I feel. I feel like I need to keep saying this because Nintendo just doesn't get it. They do one thing right, and then they just do something unbelievably stupid. And that's why I feel like I shouldn't give them that benefit of the doubt again for the NX. I mean, I want to support the NX. I love Nintendo. I want the system to succeed, but I just don't feel any reason want to believe that it is going to succeed. I need Nintendo to show us that they learned from their mistakes with the Wii U and that they're going to do a much better job with the NX. They need to market it better. They need to tone down the gimmicks, make a more basic traditional console that still has that Nintendo touch. They need to reach out and get those third parties on board. They have so much catching up to do because they just messed up so badly with the Wii U. And they have a chance to fix all that, but I don't have any reason to believe that they will fix that or that they know how to do that. And that just saddens me as a Nintendo fan to say that. I hate being so pessimistic about the NX, but I'd be lying to you if I said that, oh yeah, the NX is going to be great. They're going to turn this around. They're going to fix all the problems. Nintendo's going to rise back to their former state. No, I don't believe that at all. And I want to be wrong about this. I really want Nintendo to convince me otherwise, to say, no, you were wrong to doubt us. Look at our great system. Look at all the amazing games we have, first and third party alike, but I feel like that's just a pipe dream, and I don't want to delude myself into thinking that. So, you know what? I'm gonna see what Nintendo does with the NX. Of course, I'm gonna keep following up with them and see what they do, but as of this moment, I have no faith in the NX at all. I mean, if you really have faith in it, good for you, but that's just how I honestly feel. I just want Nintendo to learn from their mistakes from the Wii U and to not repeat them. That's what I really want from the NX. We can worry about what games they'll have or what the system will do much further down the road, but for now, I want them to show us that they learned from the Wii U and that they're going to do a better job this time around. That's what I really want. Alright, next we have 3 questions from Bradley Burke. Number 1. How would you decide the fate of Dr. Mario, Dark Pit, and Lucina in Smash 5 from the following choices? 1 must be an alternate costume, 1 is its own character but is still a full clone, and 1 is also its own character yet with an updated moveset, making the character a non-clone, or at least a semi-clone. I would probably make Dr. Mario an alternate costume for Mario, with the fireballs being palette swapped out for the Mega Vitamins, because Dr. Mario is essentially the same character as Mario. He's just wearing a different costume and he's just throwing Mega Vitamins instead of fireballs, so I feel like he really doesn't need to be his own character. I mean, if they kept custom moves in Smash 5, then you can switch out between their down specials and everything, but I just feel like Dr. Mario just needs to be an alternate costume for Mario. And then I would make Lucina her own character that is still a full clone, because even though I haven't played Fire Emblem Awakening yet, if I understand this correctly, Lucina's role in the beginning of the game was pretending to be Marth. So I think her being a clone of Marth just makes sense with what she was trying to accomplish in the game. But at the same time, at the end of the day, she's still her own character. She's not like Dr. Mario, where she was just she was just Marth in a different costume or whatever. But yeah, I just think that would make the most sense for her to still be a clone, because she was trying to emulate Marth, but she's still her own character. And then, of course, that would mean that I would make Dark Pit his own character with an updated moveset, because Kid Icarus Uprising had so many different weapons and powers and abilities that I really don't think it would be that hard for the developers to give Dark Pit some unique moves. I feel like they only made Dark Pit a clone of Pit because they were running low on time for Smash 4's development, and if they had more time, then they could pull other original moves for Dark Pit and make him his own unique character. I mean, I still don't like the Dark Pits here. I still would rather have, anyone else from any other franchise pretty much over a third Kid Icarus character, but let's not get into that right now. So yeah, I would make Dr. Mario the alternate costume, Lucina would be her own character but a full clone, and Dark Pit would have new moves and be a semi-clone at the very least. Okay, number 2. If Snake, Squirtle, and Ivysaur could never come back to Smash, who would you want to take their place? A Konami character for Snake and 2 Pokemon for Squirtle and Ivysaur. I don't see why they wouldn't ever be allowed to come back, especially if we're getting 2 other Pokemon to take their place. I mean, with Snake it makes a little more sense because he's third party, but I would just get rid of the spots altogether. That's the only reason I could think of that Squirtle and Ivysaur wouldn't be allowed back, but hey, I'm answering the questions, not you, so I'll stick to your format here. For Snake, for a Konami character, I think someone from Castlevania, like Simon Belmont, would probably make sense. And then for the 2 Pokemon, I'd say Sceptile, because we don't have a grass starter. He has a Mega Evolution. A lot of people were pushing for him before Smash 4 came out. 3rd gen remakes might still be relevant by then. Oh, who am I kidding? They're probably going to have Gen 7 by the time Smash 5 comes out. But, yeah, it's a stretch. I guess Sceptile. And then for the second Pokemon, I don't know. Crocodile, I guess. I mean, no specific reason why. I really have no reason to want Crocodile other than, like, personal bias. But Crocodile was really the only Pokemon in all of 5th gen that I actually liked, and that's just representation for 5th gen on the roster, so that's literally the only reason why. So yeah, I gave like no thought into this at all. So my 3 characters: Simon Belmont replaces Snake, and Sceptile and Crocodile replace Squirtle and Ivysaur. Number 3. Why are you so worried about Paper Mario's future? Is it because Intelligent Systems has been focusing on Fire Emblem a lot lately, or is it a completely different reason? I talked about this a little bit in the collaboration list I did with my friends, and I feel like I should make a separate video discussing Paper Mario altogether, so I don't want to get too long-winded here, and I'll just stick to answering your question. It's not that I'm worried that Intelligent Systems has been focusing on Fire Emblem a lot lately. Fire Emblem is a popular series, so of course it makes sense that they're going to continue making games for it. That's fine. I still have faith that if Intelligent Systems really wanted to make another traditional Paper Mario, they could, because after all, they did make the first 2 ones that we love so much, so I have faith that they could still make a traditional Mario RPG in the Paper Mario style. What I'm really worried about, the reason I'm worried about Paper Mario's future is because I'm worried what Miyamoto did to Sticker Star is going to stick with the franchise, like for any future installments. I'm worried that we're just going to get someone who is in charge making the decisions who really doesn't understand what the fans love about Paper Mario. I'm worried that even if Miyamoto has nothing to do with the next Paper Mario game, that whoever is in charge is just going to keep implementing these gimmicky ideas, these ideas that nobody asked for, and that we're just never going to get a traditional Paper Mario again. I mean, it's not good to think like that. You have to remain hopeful, but I don't know. Maybe I'm still just feeling pessimistic all around. Maybe the NX stuff is rubbing off on other things, but it's just, I don't know. I'm kind of afraid to put my faith in Paper Mario's future because we don't even know if we're going to get any more traditional Paper Mario games, any more Paper Mario games in general. I mean, Paper Jam it really just seems like it's a Mario and Luigi game with Paper Mario slapped in on it. It doesn't really feel like it's its own Paper Mario game, so I don't know. I'm just really worried about Paper Mario because I just feel like we're not going to get someone in charge who understands why the first 2 games are so good. That's what I'm worried about. It really has nothing to do with Intelligent Systems working on Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem really has nothing to do with it. So, again, I could probably make a whole separate video about this. I probably will because I love Paper Mario so much and I have a lot to say about it, but now is just not the time for it, where this is getting really long as it is. So, yeah, that's all I have to say about Paper Mario for right now. Okay, next question comes from Dr. Minjinx. Does the high amount of Kid Icarus content in Smash Wii U/3DS bother you? It does, but not as much as it did when the game first came out. I mean, when those games first came out, I was like really upset by it. I'm just like, what the hell's going on? This is not Super Kid Icarus Brothers. But now that I've had the games for a while, I'm kind of over it a little bit, but at the same time, I still don't really like it. I mean, I understand why some of the content made it in. I mean, with the whole majority of the Smash Run enemies being from Uprising, I believe that was because a lot of the models were already on the 3DS from Kid Icarus Uprising, so it was easy to port them over and put them in Smash Run. That makes sense, I guess. And then with the whole difficulty of Classic Mode being influenced by Uprising, I don't really like that new system, but I get why they were trying to implement it. They were trying to overhaul Classic Mode and make it this interesting, unique thing. I don't really like what they did to it. I hope they don't keep this system in the next Smash game. I hope this was just a one-time thing. But, I don't know. I'm not as upset about it as I was when I first saw it. I think really the only Kid Icarus content that still bothers me that's in Smash Wii U and 3DS is the fact that we have 2 Kid Icarus newcomers. Palutena is fine. I mean, I understand why she was a really important character in Uprising. She's been in the franchise since the beginning, so and Uprising was a good game. So if they wanted one more character, I could understand that. But why do we need Dark Pit 2? I mean, yeah, he was a clone, but that doesn't mean we needed another Kid Icarus character. We could have... Give us another F-Zero character that's a clone of Captain Falcon. People would have taken that, or... I don't know, maybe Ganondorf would have to say otherwise, but... I don't know, I just feel like if they could have done a clone, couldn't they have done someone other than a Kid Icarus character? Because Kid Icarus Uprising was good. I played a little bit of it. I'm not done with it yet, but I am enjoying it. It's a good game, but I really don't feel like Kid Icarus needed 2 characters for this one, for Smash Wii and 3DS. I mean, Kirby got away with it in Brawl because Kirby's been around for a long time. Kirby's had games much more prevalently than Kid Icarus, but I don't know where this tangent is going. Yeah, I'm kind of over it. It still kind of bothers me how much Kid Icarus content is in Smash, but I'm kind of over it. I feel like as long as they just don't do this again with Smash 5, we'll be all good in my book. Just, yeah. I mean, I still think we should have gotten another Metroid character or another Donkey Kong character before we got a third Kid Icarus character, but it is what it is. Can't change the past. Okay, here are 2 questions from Krong Gamer. Number 1, are you a fan of the Beatles, Bob Dylan, Rolling Stones, or Pink Floyd? Yes, I am. I'm not really particular when it comes to music. I've enjoyed all of their styles and everything. I enjoy classical music, music from the old days, modern music a little bit. I'm honestly really not that picky at all when it comes to music, so... I mean, not to say that this stuff isn't any good. It's definitely good, and I enjoy it, but... You know, I don't really have any high standards when it comes to music. I mean, there are genres I don't like, but those are far outweighed by genres that I do like and genres that I tolerate, so. Question number 2. What characters do you not want as DLC or you think are overrated in terms of being voted for DLC? I gave this some thought, and I was originally going to say Waluigi because I really dislike him as a character. But even I will admit that he has potential for a unique moveset. So instead of Waluigi, I'm going to say Daisy. I really don't want to see Daisy get in Smash as a separate character. I really don't see where all of her support is coming from. I mean, is it not enough that Peach has an alternate skin for her? I really don't get it. I don't get what does Daisy do that is so special, that is so different, that needs to be represented in Smash Brothers. I mean, people could say, oh, she can pull stuff from the spin-off games, but so could Waluigi, and Waluigi would at least have all of his quirky, goofy movements and everything that would make him unique, so Waluigi has more of that going for him than Daisy does, but for some reason, I keep seeing Daisy show up a lot, and I'm just not seeing what is so special about her that people feel she needs to get in. I mean, if we needed another female Mario character, we got Rosalina. Why isn't that enough? So, I mean... just be happy that Daisy is an alternate skin for Peach in Smash Brothers. So, I don't know. I'm not trying to tell people they can't want Daisy. I just don't really see it, and I dislike that she has a lot of people advocating for her. I just don't really see it that much. Okay, here are 4 questions from that one Smash artist. Number 1, if you had enough money to get every amiibo in the Smash line, would you? Or would you leave out the characters you don't like, Mr. Game & Watch or Jigglypuff? When it comes to amiibo, money really isn't the issue. If I, spaced out my paychecks enough and, didn't make a lot of impulse buying and everything, I probably could afford to get all of the amiibo over time as long as they showed up eventually. They weren't rare forever. But really the problem and the reason I don't get all the amiibo is really just a matter of space. I physically don't have enough space in my room for all 50 amiibo, plus that's the Smash line alone, but all 50 plus amiibo, including all the other lines and everything. It's just even if I wanted to get them all, I just physically don't have the space for all of them. And obviously, yeah, you're right. I probably would not get characters that I don't like. Like, I don't like Mr. Game & Watch and Jigglypuff, so why would I waste money buying merchandise of them if I don't like them? So, money's not really the issue. If I wanted to get all of the Smash line, I probably could over time, as long as the stock problem was fixed. It's really just space and having not enough room for all of them. That's the reason why I don't collect them all. And, yeah, I probably just wouldn't because... there are characters I just don't like, so I don't see why I'd get the amiibo for them. Number 2. What is your favorite / least favorite amiibo in the Smash lineup? Favorite is hard because I love them all so much. They all look really good. Part of me wants to be generic and say Mario because Mario actually really does look good in the Smash amiibo form, but there are other ones that really stand out to me that I have that I really like Mega Man's is really cool. He's like really shiny and everything. I like him. Charizard looks really good. I like the way he turned out. Bowser Jr. actually looks pretty cool too. Gosh, you see, this is so hard, but I don't know. I can't pick a favorite. I like them. They're like all my little children to me, and I love them all equally, and I hate having to pick one over the other because they're all special to me and like that. But if I had to pick a least favorite, probably Palutena. I mean, I'm glad I don't own her because, dear God, look at the face. Just, no. No, this figure has no place on my shelf. Just, Palutena, I'm sorry, but your face is just, no. I don't want you. No. Number 3. When at some point will you address the amiibo problem in a video? No rush, just asking. I would like to make an amiibo video at some point. I just don't know when I would do that, and at this point, I'm not really sure what I could say about the amiibo problem that would be any different from what has already been said. I mean, you guys know me. I don't like to make videos on popular topics unless I can try and bring something new to the table, and amiibo is just one of those topics that I'm just kind of keeping on the back burner, you know? It's one of those things I'd like to talk about at some point, but I just, at this moment, I don't feel like there's really anything I can say that hasn't been said already. I mean, yeah, I'd be passionate enough about amiibo to make a video complaining about the stock problem, but I'm not the first person to complain about the stock problem. There are tons of videos. Like, if you search up amiibo, if you're not on YouTube, if you're not finding gameplay videos, you're finding people ranting about how they can't get a Little Mac because he's so freaking rare, and scalpers and eBay and everything. So, I can't give you a time frame or anything like that, but yeah, it has crossed my mind to make a video about the amiibo problem. I just don't know when I could do it, and at that point, I just don't even know if it will happen. It could very well not happen, but it all just depends on if I can eventually think of something unique to say that I think is worth saying. So, we'll see. You know, don't rule anything out yet. And number 4, why do you hate Jigglypuff? Ugh. Guys, look, I know I was harsh on him, her, it, or whatever way back when I made that Smash speculation video, but I over-exaggerated for the sake of comedic effect. You know, I got really invested into it. I got really passionate about it because I love Smash. I love getting really heated about this stuff, but I don't hate Jigglypuff as a character. You know, this has nothing to do with how she plays or like her role in the Pokemon series or anything like that. I'm completely indifferent to that stuff. And I don't physically hate this character. I just don't agree with her place in Smash Brothers. That's all. And if you like her, that's fine. I'm not telling you you're wrong to like Jigglypuff. It's just a simple disagreement. I know I got really heated about it, but I always get heated about Smash Brothers because I love this series so much. I just honestly believe that there are way more Pokemon out there who are much more deserving of being in Smash Brothers than she is. And I honestly believe that if Jigglypuff was not included in the original Smash Brothers, nobody would care about her now. Nowhere near as many people would be advocating for her now. People seem to really only care about her, and they only want her to come back every time because she's always been here, because she's part of the original 12. If she was not part of the original 12, would people honestly give a shit about her? That's what I really want to know. It's just, I feel like she kind of snuck in, and because of that, no, she can't be touched. Like, she can't be removed, and that kind of bothers me a little bit. But I don't physically hate this character. I don't, okay? I'm not going to go out and buy a Jigglypuff amiibo just to smash it with a hammer because I hate Jigglypuff that much. No, it's nothing like that. It's just, I don't know. I get that she was included because it was easy to rip Kirby's moves and make a clone out of him for her or whatever. And I get that she was included because she was a joke character. She was popular in Japan. I get all of that. I'm not saying I don't understand why she's popular. I get why people like her. I just don't agree with her being in Smash Brothers. I think there are plenty of other Pokemon that should be in and who could have been in from the beginning, and if they had been in, nobody would care about Jigglypuff now. I feel like the only reason people care about her is because she was part of the original 12. And if she wasn't, I really question if people would still care about her at all. But again, Jigglypuff fans, don't get upset by this. Because I'm not telling you you can't like that character, or that character is stupid, or that you're stupid for liking that character, because you aren't. You can like her. That opinion literally has no bearing on me at all. I don't hate Jigglypuff. I just disagree with her inclusion. And at this point, it's pointless for me to complain about it, because if she's been in 4 games so far, I think it's pretty safe to say that the original 12 are locked into Smash Bros. Permanently. I think if they've been in consistently for 4 games in a row now, 5 if you actually think 3DS and Wii U are separate games in the series or whatever, but I think if she's been in this long, she's probably going to stay in for the duration, and there's nothing I can do about that, so I don't see any point of getting upset about that, but whatever, you know. At the time, I got really heated about it because we just didn't know for sure, but now we know for sure, so there's really no point in beating this dead horse anymore. Again, if anybody didn't hear me, I do not hate Jigglypuff. I just don't like that she's in Smash Brothers. I just would prefer another Pokemon over her, but my preference has no bearing on anything. My preference is not going to change anything, so don't get upset by that. And if you do, then don't try to make it my problem, because it really isn't in reality. Okay, 2 more questions. Let's finish this up. My voice is dying here. 2 questions from Crunchy Cookie 06. Number 1, what is your favorite letter in the alphabet? This is kind of a stupid question, but oh well. Hey, don't feel bad about this being a stupid question, because after all, my motto is I answer all questions, be they thoughtful or stupid, so don't feel embarrassed by that, because I'm definitely going to answer it. In fact, I like answering stupid questions, but anyways, getting to your answer, my favorite letter in the alphabet is probably the letter A, and it has nothing to do with the fact that my name starts with it. Okay, it does. And number 2, which Nintendo character do you not like? There are a lot of Nintendo characters I'm indifferent to, but if there's one character I flat out do not like at all, it's Waluigi. Look, I get why people like him. He's weird, he's awkward, he's goofy, he'd be really clunky and funny in Smash Brothers. That's all well and good. That's fine. If people want him, full speed ahead. Good for them. But oh my god, I'm getting so tired of all these jokes around Waluigi, and just, oh my god, don't go to Tumblr and look up Waluigi. You'll see things you'll wish you'd never seen. I just don't like this character. I just don't like him at all. I like my Mario characters because, you know, they're either really cute, or they're really funny, or they do awesome things, and Waluigi just doesn't fit any of that criteria for me. Well, he does funny, but not in the way I enjoy. It's more indifference than anything else. I tolerate Waluigi, but oh my god, you guys have no idea how it feels to have a Skype group of friends and everyone loves Waluigi and they love to make it a joke and pick on me because I don't like Waluigi. You guys have no idea how that feels. If you were in my position, you would probably start to hate Waluigi too, but I don't know. I really just don't like Waluigi. I would not care if they killed him off somehow. In fact, that would probably be funny if they actually killed off Waluigi canonically, but I don't know. Why do I even have to think about Waluigi? I just don't like him. So, you know what? We're done here. We're done. No more questions. Okay, so that's all the time I have for now. Thank you for all the questions, guys, and keep them coming as always. And I do feel the need to point this out because I think some people are kind of worried about this. Just because you didn't see your question here doesn't mean I'm ignoring it or that it's never going to be answered, so please calm down. I pick and choose which questions I want to answer, and for some of these questions, I saw them, but I decided to save them for a later part for one reason or another. You don't need to know those reasons right now. But please, don't freak out if I don't answer your question right away. I see these questions. I check my personal messages every day just to see if someone has submitted any new questions that I need to look at. I look at all of them, and I choose when I want to answer them. So your question may very well get answered in the next part. So don't make yourself feel dumb by asking why your question wasn't answered only for it to be answered in the next part. So just calm down, okay? Please have faith in me. I know what I'm doing here. Your question will get answered eventually if I think it's a good question. Don't take offense to that, but I don't know. I'm done trying to think. I did this for too long. This one was too long. Yeah, so thanks again for all the questions, guys, and I will see you next time. This has been Brawlmaster 012 signing off.